If you want to lead, you must decide where you're going. In that chapter, I talked about how you've got to decide early and firmly what it is you are trying to do. Where are you trying to be a leader? Where is your direction? You can't arrive without a destination. And most people go through the ride in life without a destination and then get upset that they never got anywhere.
Here with us now, host of MSNBC's Politics Nation and president of the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton. He's out now with the new book, The Rejected Stone, Al Sharpton and the Path to American Leadership. It's great to have you.
I love the title.
Good morning.
Talk about the biblical illusion.
Wow.
118th Psalms talks about how the stone that the builder rejected becomes the cornerstone of the new building. And my book is about how we watch the country now be led by those who would have been rejected. You have a black president from a single-parent home. You have a Latino woman on the Supreme Court. And this transformation of the country, but also how I've transformed as the country's transformed. You know, I grew up rejected from a single-parent home, felt rejected by my father. I talked about fighting with the elders of the church who never wanted me to go into civil rights. And then in the civil rights movement, some of the older guard that didn't like my northern urban style. So I think that all of us can learn to grow and not be afraid to grow. And the book is about dealing with your rejection complex and not being afraid to grow and become bigger and be the person you want to be. It's more about life lessons and society lessons.
As we build on the book, also joining us at the table, screenwriter John Ridley is back.
Boy, look at that guy.
Like the coolest outfit I've ever seen.
Thank you very much. The Rejected Stone has never looked so good.
This is a Morning Joe original.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
We're talking
you are
2007, Secaucus, New Jersey, taking phone calls from Pat Buchanan.
Yes.
That was
We're talking
Walter
the
Isaacson.
peak best.
So once you guys got technology moved into the city, so there's nothing more to be done.
No, I got my job here.
No, this is
Good to see you again.
Thank you very much to all of you. Nice to be back, and very good to see you again,
Good to see
Reverend.
you, John.
Thank you.
Okay.
So talk about your growth. Talk about your growth. I mean, you obviously are not the same man that you were in the 1990s, 1980s. Talk about it.
Well, I think
even as a child.
I think you've got to become more deliberate to be more effective. You know, most people want to hold on and say, I haven't changed. Well, if times have changed and you haven't changed, then something's wrong with you. I think that you learn how to do what you do better. I'm committed to social justice and civil rights. That's my calling in life. But do I care enough about it to do it better and be more effective and have more than one strategy and not just react, but have a strategy to act? So I still march, I mean, as you know, Joe, from the Trayvon Martin case. But I also know how to sit at the table and deal with more than just name calling and back and forward. And I talk in the book about my experiences with the president, my experiences from Michael Jackson to James Brown, lessons I learned along the way.
Let's talk about really quickly, though, because a lot of people don't know what happened in the Trayvon Martin case. Well before the verdict came out, you sat down with leaders, with people who disagreed with you, and just, hey, no matter what happens, there's going to be peace. Where they're not, you know, I mean, that was, you were as concerned about that as anything, weren't you?
And the reason I was, and I should have done that probably more in my younger days, though I was never one to advocate violence, I think you have to make it a point to say we've got to be nonviolent. Because if you really want to push your cause, part of your cause is how it's portrayed to the public and the message you're getting across. And I used to have the attitude, I don't care what people think. We got to do what's right. Well, you have to care people think if you want what is right to occur. You can't antagonize the public and then appeal for them to understand your cause. So that's why in Florida I said the worst thing that can happen here is we become like what we're fighting. And we deliberately, Bishop Curry and many of us, took time to do that.
Let's go to another case, if I could, and that is the one of Tawana Brawley, who accused a group of black men in New York of raping her. You came to her defense. Okay. And a special grand jury later determined her claims were fabricated. How does this fit into your life's path in terms of lessons, regrets?
I think that what I learned in Brawley, and it's a case if I was called today by a young lady that made those claims, I would respond the same way. But what I wouldn't do is get into a back and forward name calling with the prosecutor and go for the quick from the hip kind of flippant attitude with the press. You learn to do what you do better, like he just raised about George Zimmerman's case or any number of cases, Sean Bell cases. Whereas 25 years ago, it was, I don't care what you think, I feel I'm right, I feel that I've got to do what I've got to do. Now, I'm not talking to prosecutors who I may think is unfair. I'm talking to the public. If I'm going to represent a young lady, young man, or stand up for a cause, I owe it to them to make sure that I give the best public display of why we're concerned about a given situation.
Do you regret at all, Rev, what you put some of the men through in that case, though, the guys who turned out to be innocent?
You know, people are asking today that I apologize to George Zimmerman. Why would you regret standing up for someone?
Not to George Zimmerman.
No, but
I'm talking about Tawana Brawley.
I'm absolutely talking about Tawana Brawley. Brawley made a claim. Bill Cosby and everybody rallied around it before I did. Why would I say that I should not come to the defense of someone who had made a claim and those that had been accused never would come forth before in the grand jury at that time that we got involved? So in any case, right around the Brawley case, I got involved with Central Park. 13 years later, I was proven right. I was universally condemned for getting involved in the Central Park case. Same time period. So I think that any of the cases we get involved, we're not the investigators, but we have the basis of coming in based on we feel that there's been a civil rights.
But knowing what you know now, that it was a fabrication.
But what do I know now?
Hoax?
That a grand jury didn't believe her. A jury didn't believe Trayvon Martin's family.
So you believe?
I believe that there was enough reason to go to court on that case, which is what we advocate, just like I believed in other cases. And once it had gone to court, it would have had to have been the jury. You got to remember, the same prosecutor came after me on situations I knew was wrong. Why would I believe the jury that he used there? So I think, again, this book is not about all of that. This book is about how you do things. But I think that it is the basis of a case. You've got people right now, Willie, that says he shouldn't have gotten involved in Duke lacrosse. I didn't get involved in that. Not one time. Never went to North Carolina. But people get carried away in the emotions because they just broad stroke rather than say, well, wait a minute. If there's a claim there and people are being denied their right for redress, why wouldn't civil rights leaders respond? That's what we're about. But rather than explain that, I used to just call your name, keep going. You can't do that if you really want to.
I don't mean to belabor this, Rev, but it is part of the book, and it's something a lot of people are going to ask you about as you go talk about it. So you don't believe that the Tawana Brawley case was a hoax?
I believe that the basis of our involvement of saying that this prosecutor should have moved forward and brought this into court was absolutely the right position to take, and that was the position we took.
John Ridley.
For me, Reverend, and I lived in New York a long time ago, you've always been a person of stature. You know, you've at least been in the public eye. There are a lot of people, and this book is addressed to other rejected stones. I look at you and say, well, here's a man who started somewhere and went somewhere. If you're someone sitting at home, doesn't have a platform, how do they take your message and actually activate? How do they go from being someone who's completely rejected, has no platform, nowhere to go, to actually changing their life?
I addressed that in the book. It has nothing to do with a platform. People are rejects in their own family. Right. People are rejects in their own workplace. People that are getting ready to go to work now feel rejected. What do you do? These are the lessons I've learned from people that have had to deal with it in everyday life that I had to deal with. I started preaching when I was a kid. I was a boy preacher. I showed the flyers in the book. Right. I couldn't get along with other classmates because I was considered weird. And you've got to be able to learn how to embrace yourself. See yourself as something that may be rejected by others, but I accept myself first.
What did James Brown see in you?
James, I don't know. I met James Brown when I was a teenager. His son and I was close. His son got killed, and he kind of adopted me. And he became like the father that left me, that rejected me. I think he saw a kid that wanted acceptance, and he wanted to have somebody that believed in him.
How much did your father leaving and rejecting you, how much did that shape your life then? How much does it still shape your life today?
I think that my father leaving shaped a lot of my life that I didn't want to admit. I was in denial because I spent many years, probably decades, seeking a father figure. and you never get that hole that is in you filled. And I think but by seeking other father figures, I learned from people a lot more intently than I would have because I wanted to be them. James Brown once on an airplane said to me, Joe, I want you to do your hairstyle like mine. That's where my hairstyle came from. So a lot of people say to me, why does he wear his hair like that? This was the first time in my life a man wanted me to be like him.
Yeah.
That validated me. It meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
So you become a lot of things because of a lot of the demons you're fighting inside. That's what Rejected Stone is about. And that's what the book is about.
Now, if I do my hair like that, will I be able to dance like James Brown and move on the stage like him?
Why don't we first do your hair and then we'll see about the dance?
No.
All right.
The book is The Rejected Stone, Al Sharpton and the Path to American Leadership. Reverend Al, thank you very much.
Thank you, Al.
We'll see you on Politics Nation tonight at 6 p.m.
Mika's favorite show?
John Ridley.
Watches it every
Connie
night.
Chung is on tonight going to interview me.
Really?
She's going to reverse roles and host and interview me for one segment.
I'm watching that. All right, John Ridley, stay with us. Still ahead, she became a household name on NBC's hit series Friday Night Lights and is now drawing rave reviews in Nashville. Emmy Award-winning nominated actress Connie Britton will join us on Morning Joe. Stay with us.